For today's lesson, we're looking at our inequalities that we've dealt with before, and we're going to talk about our rule that we apply when it comes to multiplying and dividing by negative numbers or negative coefficients. Let's start with a little review. We begin with the old-fashioned x minus 4 is less than 2 inequality. Fairly basic for what we've been doing so far. If we want to solve this inequality, essentially what we have to do is get x by itself. It's located on the left-hand side, which means we need to get rid of that minus 4. So we're going to have to add 4 to both sides. And we come up with x is less than 6. This was our solve part, and again, if we wanted to graph it, 6 would go in the middle, 7 and 5. Looks like we need an open circle above 6, and then we want all the x's that are less than 6, so that arrow would be going to the left. So again, this is nothing new. You guys have been solving inequalities for a couple of weeks now. Solve as well as the graph. Today is the same procedure, but now we introduce our rule when it comes to dividing or multiplying by a negative value. So if we look at example number 1, we want to solve and graph negative 2x is greater than 4. You know, from previous examples, we know that to get rid of the negative 2, we need to divide both sides by negative 2. You know, and we would say 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2, and this would be our answer. We would be done. Okay. The only problem with this is, in today's lesson, is we are now dividing by a negative value. And when we divide by a negative value, the rule is simple. All you have to do is flip the inequality. So it is no longer a greater than symbol, but now it is a less than symbol. So now our inequality reads x is less than negative 2. And if we wanted to graph it, the graphing hasn't changed at all. That's still negative 2, negative 1, negative 3. Open circle above negative 2. And we want all of the x's that are less than that. So what I have in red here, whenever we divide by a negative, we have to flip that inequality symbol. That's the rule of the day. Let's look at another one. Example number 2, we have negative 3x minus 10 is greater than 8. So again, we locate the x variable. It's on the left-hand side. We need to get rid of the negative 3 as well as the minus 10. We get rid of the minus 10 first, so we need to add 10 to both sides. So we have negative 3x is greater than 18. Divide by negative 3. And again, x is greater than negative 6. But wouldn't you know it, there was our negative sign again, which means we now need to flip that inequality symbol. So now we want all of the x's that are less than that negative 6. Graph it. Negative 6 goes in the middle, negative 5, negative 7, open circle, and again we're going to the left. Last one, example number 3. We have negative 5 times the quantity x minus 3 is greater than 5 times the quantity x minus 3. Okay, so if we look at the left-hand side, notice we can distribute right away. If we distribute here, if I distribute the negative 5 to the x, we get negative 5x. And if we distribute here, negative 5 times negative 3 will get me a positive 15. If we do the same thing on the right-hand side, if we distribute the 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times negative 3 will get us negative 15. So what we essentially did is we simplified both the left and the right-hand sides. And now at this point what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get the variable to one side. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and add 5x to both sides. And the reason I'm doing this again is because I want to get the x by itself. Okay? And as of right now we have two x's, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking this negative 5x and I'm moving it over to the right-hand side. So when we add 5x to both sides, notice when I add those together, Now I'm down to just a single x that I can eventually solve for here. Now that the x is on the right hand side, I need to get rid of that minus 15 along with the 10. So we're going to go ahead and add 15 to both sides. We have 30 is greater than 10x. We'll divide both sides by 10 to get 3 is greater than x. Now again, the theme for the lesson is we got to flip the inequality symbol, but notice our value of 10 was positive this time. So if it's positive, just leave it the way it is. If you want to, you could rewrite it the other way. Therefore, it'd be x is less than 3. 3 on the number line, 4, and 2. Open circle, and again going to left. Practice problems that we need to work on are going to be A, B, and D.